on assault weapons in the United States. Lawful citizens should not be forced to pay penance for the misdeeds of others. Richard Pearson. So today we're going to go over 3 main reasons why assault weapons should not be banned in the U.S. I'm going to talk about alternatives for banning assault weapons, how we will defend our country if the government becomes tyrannical, why our forefathers put the right to bear arms as the Second Amendment in the first place. So here's some alternative laws. If you want to reduce gun murder, ban all laws against good people owning guns. Bill Taylor, Cura.com. Don't force law-abiding citizens to give up their right to protection. In Chicago, Illinois, they tried gun restrictions and gun laws, and you still see in certain neighborhoods have the highest recorded homicide rates in the world. According to the UN, Honduras has a homicide rate of 90 per 100,000 people. And in West Garfield Park in Chicago, population of 18,000 had 21 murders in a year, which puts it at 116 murders per 1,000 people, which is higher than Honduras. Another alternative would be focused deterrence, which is something they tried in Boston, and it was called like the Boston ceasefire. It required coordination between police departments and prosecutors and community members in the neighborhood, the neighborhoods most affected. Louis Beckett, TheGuardian.com. How much power does banning assault weapons give the government? So we talked about some alternatives to gun control and banning assault weapons in the U.S. Let's talk about how much power it can give the government when they take our guns away. So the government creates the laws in the first place, and they can put any loophole in the details of the law that they want. Christian Berteschi from Reason.com wrote an article titled, "My Family's Pea Shooter is Now an Illegal Assault Weapon in This Illinois Town." The village of Deerfield, Illinois, a suburban town about 30 miles north of Chicago, passed a sweeping ban on any semi-automatic weapons that come with a fixed magazine capable of holding more than 10 rounds. So Christian's semi-automatic 22 rifle with a fixed 14-round clip was now banned in Chicago, well, in Illinois. And so the government can literally just throw in any loophole they want there. So technically, they could say a semi-automatic weapon, that's a pistol that holds 16 rounds, they can take your pistol away. You won't have a concealed carry anymore because they just told you that they banned your pistol, so you can't have it. And once the government has our guns, the ability to oppress us just becomes immeasurably more easy. Literally, we have no chance to defend ourselves. With no weapons to defend ourselves from the possibility of government takeover, it's literally just a matter of time. The people must be able to defend themselves if their liberties and rights as an American citizen are threatened. The forefathers of this melting pot of a country, built on the principles of freedom and equality for all, chose to put the right to bear arms as number 2 for a reason. The people who started this nation were oppressed and taken advantage of by a greedy monarchy. They stood for what's right and fair for everyone. They wanted to be free men and women. Without weapons in the hands of righteous men and women to protect its borders from an enemy, foreign or domestic, our government could easily oppress the people once more. A government by the people, for the people. How long will that last? How long will that last when we have nothing to defend ourselves? And they start taking our constitutional rights away. History has proven time and time again that stricter gun control laws don't really make a difference on homicide rates in the U.S. And also, mass shootings only make up a very, very small percentage of our homicide rates in the United States. Most of it has to do with like gang violence and gang-related crime in impoverished cities like in Chicago and Detroit. There's very, very high rates of homicide. And so I hope you guys see after this speech that a ban on assault weapons just isn't the right solution. I mean, we have to come up with a better way, or it just makes it too easy. Too easy for our government. There's a lot of conspiracy theories too about our government, man. It's they started out like it was all about us having the right to control our government rather than our government control its people. So like, you can't, us being able to stand up against the government once it becomes oppressive or starts taking our liberties away is vital. It's absolutely vital, because if you can't protect yourself, then you're just going to become a pawn. So it's really important. I hope you guys see that. Thank you.